Well, hey there, guys. So tonight I'm here with Dime, and I want to talk a little bit about connection and collection. So as you're seeing here, Dime has a lot of forward in him and is a little bracy in the front. He doesn't really want to stop. There we go. And then it takes him a while to really come down and be able to get soft to back up. And my problem in the past with him, there you go, good boy, has been that in order to get him to curl up and frame up, I thought, well, if a little is good, then more is better with my hands. And what I've found is the faster I go with my hands, the more your horse gets braced up, the more my horse gets braced up, or they start to get sticky-footed or a little resistant. And I think what that is certain horses get a little bewildered, and so when we ask them faster, they tend to sew up as opposed to give us what we want. So instead, if you find that you have a stiff or heavy horse, first thing to do is to try to go a little lighter. So I'm just going to take up enough contact for him to feel me. And then if he wants to drop, I'm going to stay with him at that 2-ounce feel. There. And you see how it took a moment, then he rocked back, and then he kind of stopped of his own accord and put that brace in. So I'm just going to ask him to straighten his neck, but I'm going to go a little lighter. We're just going to wait here. He may have been distracted by something. Doesn't really matter. The point is you're just going to go at the pace of nature. So there he gets soft, and we're looking for him to, there he rocks back. We want him to do both. Now he's kind of pulling on my hands, so we want him to rock back and get soft. There we go. And you see how he's a little low energy right now. So in order to get to this connection stage, you first need rhythm, relaxation, and impulsion, right? So we just need to make, and when he started, he had good forward motion. But now that we backed up once or twice, he may have lost a little bit of that forward. So we're just going to kind of look for him to mosey around here. And you see how he's perpetually braced up. He's had some other folks riding him, and there we go. I think, he's just used to getting into the battle. But the trick with him, with any horse that gets into the battle, is to go softer, go lighter, and be a little bit, just be persistent, as opposed to being dictatorial. So we're going to work on this first with his backup, and then we can start to work on it with the forward motions a little bit and try to get him to start to trust a little bit more and use his body in a productive way, as opposed to in this resistive way where everything's a tug-of-war. We want to turn it into a very smooth, weightless feeling. Good boy, D. He's been a really good teacher in this way. So I walked him out in a couple of figure 8 kind of yin-yang shapes, just because I wanted him to be able to move, be able to curve, walk in a curve, then straighten out, then walk in a curve, and kind of, it keeps his mind working. And these changes of direction, he constantly has to change his point of balance. So I'm basically asking him to, or looking for him to start to focus on me a little bit more than everything else out there in the world. And I think that will also start to help him to lighten up. So we'll slide down both reins, and you see how long I'm taking to get to actually putting some pressure on. Now I have 2 ounces, 3 ounces of pressure, and you see how he's still kind of pushing through the hands, pushing up to the wall, and then we'll wait for him to take a few strides back. There we go. And I'm being as soft as I can here. If he pulls on me, that's just what it is. That's him pulling on me. but I'm just only holding with 2-3 ounces. He can pull a little harder sometimes, and then your hands have to neither give nor take. They just hold there. They just stay there in the air. If he gets lighter, that's him releasing himself. Your hands stay there. They don't take more. If he gets heavier, your hands don't take more. They just stay there. Good boy. So I'll take that slack out again. You see how he starts to walk forward into it? But there. That's a change. And wait for him to, now he kind of braced up with his front feet. He goes, okay, I'm going to see how I lean on these hands. So we just kind of keep waiting for him. There. Good boy. And then we move forward and out again. Good boy. We can move out into a trot a little bit here with him on a nice loose rein. That way he gets the chance to jog around. And when he comes around this corner, you guys will see how he's kind of just sticking his head up in the air. There you go. Kind of moving like a saddlebred almost. And just trying to find the way out of the arena. How about you back yourself up there, Dee? Take a turn. So, and this is something that, you know, if your horse is wanting to get out of the arena all the time, maybe they've been feeling a little bit of pressure. So I've been taking the pressure off of him as much as possible in here. You see today's ride is real easy going. We're not asking him for more than he's able to give just yet. And same idea, we're just asking him to change directions, go all over the place. That way he gets a chance to feel each side in the curve. But you see right now how he has to change sides. He sticks his head all the way up as high as it can go before he starts to bend. Over time, we'd like it if he'd do the opposite and kind of start dropping his neck as he came through the curve. And that comes through relaxation and him being sure of what his next stride is. So look for a little bit of a tighter turn now. That way he can, there you go, work some, kind of stretch some of his outside muscles here. Same idea to the right. Right in. Look for him to keep moving forward and keep that trot going in a bend. Good boy. And let him move out. So then, real nice, slow and easy. Take up contact on those reins. There, that deceleration happened a little faster that time. Then we'll wait for him to soften. And I'm trying to stay as soft as possible here. I'm not pulling. There you go. Just staying present and blocking him in the front. Good boy. Then we can walk out again with him. Doesn't matter which way he heads off at first. You can just kind of let him pick his direction, and then after a time, slide down a rein and see if he has released it all. Not a whole lot yet. He's there. That's where he starts dropping his neck and taking a different shape. It only happens in small, brief glimpses at first, but we'll get there with him. So that backup is actually starting to get really good. He's now when I pick up, it takes him a little while to get the message, but as I sit back, I'm not having to pull too much. You just wait for that momentum to die, and then there, as he rocks back and backs out of it, there's less of a pause each time. There we go. And I can feel him start to actually push up his back muscles and use himself a little bit more. So, if he's at that point where that pause between the forward and the back has lessened quite a bit, then we can start to take up contact on both reins here and look for him to just be able to accept that feel as we're walking along. Now, I'm really focusing on being light with my fingers here. You know, a lot of the time when you're thinking, okay, let's get these horses to frame up, it's like boom, boom, you're already there and your horse is already braced and now you're in the tug of war. Instead, it's that take your time sliding down these reins, take your time picking up contact and getting into posture there. And then that brace kind of handles itself. And if he heads slightly off course or slightly not the way that you wanted him to, that's no big deal. Right now you're just looking for softness, trust, and relaxation. You're not going to get that if you get cranky at your horse at any stage. Good boy. You see, now when he takes up this frame, he actually kind of feels good. He goes, oh, I know where to put myself now, you know, and he almost took a stride of jog in there. So then we'll lengthen out, let him try and walk this circle. And we're just going to keep him on this right circle so that he can focus right now. Here we go. And he doesn't have to guess about changing directions. Take up again, nice, and you see how quickly he moved into frame that time. There you go. And then lengthen back out. And this is your a million transitions exercise. And you're just, the transition you're doing right now is just from collected walk to a relaxed or extended walk. We'll come back around the corner again. And then I'll start to slide down these reins. Good. And just keeping that posture, like whatever you want your horse to do, try to do that with your body. And you tend to get pretty good results. So if you want your horse to elevate their shoulders, elevate your own. If you want your horse to engage their hindquarters, see if you can kind of engage your own or start to sit on your seat bones a little bit and let your legs slide back. And then when you're ready to extend, the legs come forward, the arms go, you know, your reins go loose, and you just keep walking that circle. Here you go. And look already the change that he's starting to make in his posture. He's gone from, you know, walking around with a bit of a giraffe neck, which is that's his mode, that's his normal. Even when he's in pasture, he kind of travels with a giraffe neck, to now, there we go. He's starting to relax when he feels that rein, and he's starting to get longer. Look a little bit more like a cowboy paint horse, as opposed to a standard bred or a saddlebred. Which there's nothing wrong with looking like a saddlebred when you're bred to be one. So, we'll turn to the inside here, reverse directions, and look for him to start to take that same frame going this direction. The key is, when you want your horse to be light, you have to start real light and you have to be persistent and patient. There. And you see now he's starting to soften to my feel, as opposed to that first time when we stopped, you saw how he was accepting that contact. Now he's starting to get the idea. We can lengthen out there, and you see how he really got some motion going on in his body. Good boy. He's actually kind of counter-bending himself a little bit when he lengthens out. He's bending himself to the right, even though we're going left. And I think that's just naturally he's a little bit more set up to the right. So that's just something to pay attention to. Let's look for that. There's our contact, and there's the vertical flexion through the neck. Then let me slide my legs back a little and see if we can add some collection to it. There we go. There he's driving his hindquarters up, kind of carrying the saddle, carrying himself. So then we can keep that energy moving forward and out, keep looking left, and let him lengthen and walk out. Good boy. And whatever he's worried about or looking at, we'll kind of, there you go, or needing to get rid of some diarrhea there. Well, that must feel better. Oh yeah, it feels much better now. So, what will we do here? Maybe we can real lightly, real slowly take a little contact. Keep that forward energy going. There we go. So oftentimes when horses are thinking about getting yonderly, getting out there or getting away from a predator, or needing to cover some distance, they'll empty their bowels a lot of the time, so there's less biologic load. There's less weight in their body, and then there's less for their body to be processing at the time, which is probably why he got rid of some of that. And then you saw how he jogged right out immediately. He's like, okay, I'm ready to go. So actually, I think just by going through this transitions exercise, we're able to relax him to the point where he was getting ready to go preserve himself. He's pushing everything out as fast as he could. And then he goes, it came out a little bit early, and he went, well, okay, maybe I don't need to run away from those predators after all. Here you go, Big D. So we'll just walk to the right for a minute. Let him come across the center and then back to the left. There you go. And then start our contact. There we go. And I'm just urging him forward ever so slightly with my legs, because eventually I would like that to be a nice cue for how to soften and engage. Is if he's pulling on my hand, I could just squeeze a little with that leg and say, hey, soften back up. You see how he actually did that right then. Then he goes, well, what happens if he goes to want to jog out. We say, well, let's slow and steady with the hands. Stay nice and soft, and then lengthen back out. I think he's ready to start jogging a little bit. So, and he's kind of interested in going out this direction. So that's all right. I'll let him walk out to the back end of the arena here, and then we'll start gathering up and getting ready to go into the jog. This is kind of a progressive strength building type of an exercise. So you saw at first, we held him for a couple of strides at the walk, looked for him to hold that nice frame, and then we lengthened out pretty quickly. And then after a little while, he was able to hold that frame longer and longer, And we were able to go from, one side of frame to 2 sides to 3. See, even there, how he wanted to jog out and he kind of braced up, but then he softened himself back up. So we'll soften up to him again. We're really looking for that nice, easy feeling, All right. So let's start to look for him to put himself into that collected frame. He's kind of ready to jog off for himself, but I'm going to wait till he gets on the rail so that he can't throw his shoulder out to the other end or anything like that. It would just make life easier on him. And then we'll go up into the jog. Keep your hands soft and moving with him. And you see how I'm just going to play with him and kind of just hold and stay with him, but play with the drive, play with my legs until he can jog and be vertically flexed and soft at the same time. The key here is, you see, I'm not jerking with my hands. I'm not trying to get heavier or ask him more. In fact, he's starting to get to the point where I'm trying to put a little slack in the reins when he gets soft. That way he can start to carry himself. So it's each time he gets that full forward going on is where he braces a little. And we're just going to play. If I feel like I need to take more, I'll lift my hands. There we go. And wait for him to slow off that a little. Good. There. And he holds it for a couple of strides here, almost. 1, 2, 3. And then let's ease back to the walk. And you see how now, easing back to the walk, he keeps wanting to push through the hands. There we go. There's that soft feeling at the walk. And then lengthen out and extend. Good boy. Good rule of thumb is, however long you are riding with contact and he's struggling to figure this out, that's how long you should then walk afterwards. So for him, he took about an arena and a half or so in order to kind of figure out where he was going, what he was doing, and how to take that nice collected frame. So then we walked for about a half an arena, so we'll walk for another full arena before we start in again. And it's funny, you'll see how he's taking some odd kinds of steps. It's been a while for him, I think probably most of his life, since he's actually used himself totally properly and has felt somebody actually kind of be soft with him. So I think he's loosening up and finding these different spots where he's kind of, his body is over mobile. He's not sure which muscles to quite relax and which ones to hold together yet. So that was really fast. Then see if we can come up into our jog here. And we're being real light and just staying with him. Even when he's bracing, I'm just sort of tipping his nose the direction I want him to go. And then looking for him to slow and steady himself a little bit. If he loses the plot completely, which he is right now, he's just turning his neck inside out, I'm just going to look for him to slow back to the walk. Take that shape in his neck. There's a better shape. Then ease back to a jog. There, very nice. And then we keep walking out of it. Oh, he wants to jog again. That's cool. Let's look for that frame. If he gets real braced, we'll just slow back to our walk. There we go. There, almost there. Very nice. And then breathe out, rock our hips until he comes back down to that walk. And then look to try to extend out. And yeah, keep him soft and long. Low. There you go. And you see how his neck is now making that change a little bit more. The key is, most of the time when we feel our horse brace, or you feel him run through the hands like that, oh, you want to go in there and fix the job. The key is just wait, set the situation up, wait, and let it happen, as opposed to trying to make it all happen right at once. You know, you set the situation up, you say, okay, here's the pressure with my hands, and now you just wait for him to find that solution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good boy. Move forward and out. There. And ease into your jog. Then soften back to your walk. Good. And then lengthen out. Good job, buddy. And this is kind of your progressive exercise. This is what's going to get any horse to feel exactly like your Grand Prix dressage horses, or your reining horses, or your polo ponies. The set of million transitions is what everybody pays the big bucks not to do. You know, if you get yourself a bargain horse for $500 out of a kill sale pen, and you go through this transition work, it was going to be just as well set up as a horse that you pay $10,000 for in the reining, you know, from a reining trainer or something like that, because the reining trainer has gone through all the work to go through the transitions and to go through the fencing and to go all the way through the 14 fundamentals, basically, with the horse. So this is the biggest key ingredient, is the circle plus your contact, your connection contact transitions. There he goes. 2, 3, and then back to the walk. And over time, as he gets stronger and able to hold that frame longer, then we can start thinking about going to the canter with him. Let's reverse. I'm going to take him around to the left again. That way he gets worked out on both sides evenly. And then, there we go. Start there. That's different. And then back to the walk. That's a different feel there. Now he's starting to carry himself with a brilliance to his motion a little bit when he goes into that jog. That's what we're looking for. And I think it's mainly because he's actually starting to feel good. He's going, oh, this is how I'm supposed to carry the saddle, and this is how the human's supposed to feel. Good boy. And then back to the walk. There it is. Then let's take up a little contact. Go to our stop. There's where he still needs a little help. Because now he's gotten soft, he goes, oh, cool. But when he feels the legs go away, there you go, then that means back off. Because our horses really should be able to do 5 things, right? They should be able to bend their nose to the right and keep their feet still. They should be able to bend their nose to the left. Should be able to move their hips to the right, like so. They should be able to move, bend to the right and move their hips to the left. There we go. They should be able to move their shoulders off of our inside leg to the left and to the right. And they should be able to move backwards off of our hands, just our hands, very lightly when they lift. So Dime can do all those 5 things. And then the process of making a finished horse is seeing how quickly you can do those things. And that doesn't come from asking them to go sprint right at the beginning. That comes from progressively over time. First you crawl, then you walk, then you jog, then you run, then you fly, right? So, see it, take that, there. And I love how he's stretching his neck down now there, really stretching his back out. So we'll put them together, get that nice little back up. Good boy. Walk forward one more time and check if we can transition to a back up. He goes, not quite there yet. So before we can quit, I would like it if he noticed this connection a little sooner. Good boy. So we're going to look for him to bend and follow his nose with his shoulders. Then we'll take up that connection. Hold and wait. There, he backs off. All right, now it's taken him about 5 steps or so before he can really bring himself to that, to change going from forward to backwards. So this forward to backwards transition, here we go, is kind of a key. There we go. And you see when he softens, I'm trying to soften as much as I can with him. There, that way it's his inclination to move back. Let's roll again. Then take a little contact. 4 strides that time. And then he steps back. Good. Bend to the right. Look for him to step his shoulders through. Good boy. There you go. Give him a second to shake it all out. And then take a little connection. Sit down in the seat. Good boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it took him about 4 strides to come to a standstill. No big deal. He's starting to get the idea. So we'll walk around for a second. Let him shake it out. Oh, look at this. Good boy. So you watch this change of direction transition now. We're going to the right, then we steer to the left. And you see how he's starting to drop his neck? Like I was saying before, how he had to raise his neck all the way to the highest level before he could bring it over. Now, just by being soft and slow and feeling him, he's starting to drop his neck and he's starting to take a little better posture. Especially if you wanted to go out roping or something like that. You want your horse's head out of your way. Flat, not on the ground, not down, but flat. So, here we go. Take the contact. There's the frame. Took him a few steps. Good boy. Yeah, there you go. Ask him to roll back here. Good boy. And then real slow, we'll just roll into the contact and die in the seat. That only took about 2-3 strides that time. And then he backs off. Good boy. So that's a good spot for him tonight. And if you're working with a horse that's kind of stiff or stubborn or tough, you know, that's kind of that's the process that you need to go through as well. Howdy. I do.
I noticed your gear. I'm like, all right, he doesn't have a horse. You work with like rehab cases much?
Certain times, yeah. You meaning rehab for the horses?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do that.
Okay.
This is Dime.
I'm
Dime a dozen, right?
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely. Good to meet you. Oh, good boy, D. And then we look for him to die in the seat. That took about 2 strides. And then wait for that soft back up. Good boy. All right. Well, excitement and distractions and all, Dime did really well tonight. And if you got a stiff horse, that's kind of the first step in getting your smooth dressage feel. Or that's the most important step, may not be the first step. Anyway, hope that helped.